Are you guys ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to show I'm recording this and. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to open the February 15th, 2024 New Paltz Town Board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing to repeal section 140-17 accessory apartments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing for repealing chapter 78, the Building Construction and Fire Prevention Code.
Second. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
And make a motion to open the public hearing to adopt the battery energy storage system law pursuant to Article 9 of the New York State Constitution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I think that's it. If anyone has comments on any of those laws, we can take them now, or we're not going to close those meetings right away. So, or if anyone has other comments, but I guess we have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance first. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And are there any announcements?
Oh, I have some. And I'm sure Essie would have if she could have been here, but in honor of Black History Month, there are two events going on. At Huguenot Street, on this Saturday at 3 o'clock, there is a walk on Huguenot Street called Go Back and Get It, Sankofa, examining Black impacts and experiences on Huguenot Street. And there are two separate ones, so you can go to Huguenot Street and register for those. And then on February 22nd, Historic Huguenot Street is offering an online talk called Bitter Farewell, the Esopus Indian Exodus from Their Homeland, a virtual presentation by Justice Wexler. So everybody is invited to just go online to Historic Huguenot Street and register for those events.
That's it. Any other comments, announcements, I mean? If not, does anyone have any public input or comments? You're welcome to, no one's online. But if anyone here wants to make a comment, you're welcome to come up. We try to keep them to 3 minutes, but we're not gonna kick you out. Yeah.
My comments are about the
Come and sit here so that our little voice machine can pick you up.
Probably pick you up more over there, but
Oh, I don't know. Well, you're so.
And
so-
it is surround, so it shows her, even if she's standing over
Oh,
there.
that's true.
but you can, please, wherever you're comfortable.
Okay, this is great. So this is about the battery energy storage system code that's going to be discussed tonight. And I just wanted to first of all thank Joe for all of his hard work and persistence on getting this code to this point, and to thank the board for being very forward thinking about getting this in place for New Paltz, because it's going to be important. I did kind of look through the code and just had a couple of things. I've talked to Joe about it, but one is whether we should grandfather battery storage systems in without any of the requirements. There's a lot of stuff in the code about safety and assuring, our community that these are going to be, well regulated and kept in within safe limits. So maybe for the sake of a homeowner, of that homeowner's neighbors, or the next homeowner after that, there might be some way to have existing systems not grandfathered, but file for some kind of application for, permitting and electrical permits and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just a thought there. And there was a couple of little typos and stuff, which I can pass along to Joe about that, but The other thing is just kind of in general for tier twos. Right now, it says they can be permitted in a number of different zones, which includes the general floodplain. So it might be something to think of.
So would you recommend that they be permitted in floodplains?
Well, I think it's something that should be looked at,
Okay,
for sure. It's not like a solar panel that's up on the roof. It might be down, it might be in the garage in the basement or someplace else. So it might be something to think about so that, you know, it's not damaged and somebody doesn't lose their investment and things like that.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, do you want to come up and?
Yes,
Let me share the screen here.
I'll come over here, so I'm not.
Any other comments on anything? If not, Joe, come on up.
Good
Yeah.
evening, everybody. I'll just give a few comments about, what's the motivation behind battery energy storage systems? And also how the laws will regulate them in terms of the parameters of how they are installed and where they can be installed. Well, it's a pretty cover page. I don't like it, but we're gonna skip to the next page. So for those of you who are familiar with the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, this is the law, New York State law, that's really pushing forward the transformational changes of the electric grid. There's both electricity sector goals, but also technology goals, which is kind of unusual, specifically on battery. At the time of the writing of the law, they were planning to introduce 3,000 megawatts or 3 gigawatts of storage by 2030. And they've since doubled that to 6 gigawatts. And you might wonder, well, why have they doubled it? What's motivating them to desire to add even more storage? If you go to the next page, it's really a story about the transformation of the grid and how batteries storage can be used across the grid. If we were around, if you were here for the last more than 100 years, when they first started to wire up the electric grid, you would have had little islands of electric generation and communities using that electricity. So one of the first things that happened to the grid is they connected it up together. So the New York State and Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, they could share the capabilities across those grids. And that's what allows you to export and import electricity. And it creates a more robust grid by having that network of grids. Also, over the last 100 years, for the most part, it's all been a centralized system. So the generation of electricity was all centralized, mostly fossil fuel, although nuclear and hydro is not so young anymore. And the methodology was you generate the electricity and you push it out through transmission and distribution, and then it's consumed by at the site of where the load is. So what has happened is two big transformations in the grid. The first is changing of how we generate. We now generate with more renewable sources, such as more hydro, but wind turbine and solar panels. And those solar panels and wind don't have to be just in centralized locations. They can also be at the source of demand as well. So solar panels on houses. But batteries are really unique because they can be used anywhere along that whole supply chain. They can be paired back at the central site so that when you're producing more solar energy, you can store it and use it for later. Or it can be out on the grid and you can have the batteries in close proximity to transmission or distribution and store it there. And that addresses bottlenecks in the grid. Or you can have the batteries down at the source, the load source, the load demand, and have the same benefit of using any excess, storing any excess electricity that you generate off your solar panels. So that flexibility is one of the things that's driving the expansion of solar storage. And they generally tend to talk about it as being behind the meter or front of meter. And what do they look like? If we go to the next page, these are some pictures of what they look like. On the left, for residential use, you would see batteries either on the side of walls or inside a utility room is where you might find a battery stored. And they're smaller batteries, they're not particularly large. So that would be behind the meter, but also commercial would use batteries as well. If they have refrigeration, to avoid waste, a supermarket, if the power goes out, they're gonna preserve their goods. And those units tend to be about half the size of a parking space, and they'll sit on a concrete pad. And they all tend to be in the range of less than 600 kilowatt hours. That's the unit that they measure batteries by. And then in front of the meter, which would typically be connected to transmission lines, it's about the size of a parking lot, where they have trailers that have all the battery systems in them, and software connects it up to the transmission lines to distribute it and to recharge them or sell it. So that's what they look like. The reason why we're excited about the use of batteries, if you go to the next page. Oh, we can't really read this, but let me just describe. There's 13 different services that you can use batteries for. If you're a consumer, the orange slice there, well, backup is the obvious thing that most people use batteries for, but you can also use it to capture all of any excess electricity that you're generating off your own renewable resources. And now with the software, you can say, well, let me use my battery at night instead of using grid. So you get time phase benefit from using batteries as well. And those are the customer level. The utility companies and the ISO, which manage the grid, they have another 8 or 9, 10 things they can do with batteries, which makes the grid overall more stable. So they have lots of flexibility and lots of power in using batteries for a variety of things. Next page, please. So what have we done? 4 basic things. First off, we created a common application permit that is both solar and battery together, because most permitting process, most people installing solar systems are also considering batteries as well. So it's a single application, and it's designed to either say, well, I'm only going to do solar, or I'm going to do solar and battery, or I'm only going to do battery. So it's one application, and the user of the application can decide what they're permitting for. The second item, now that's following up the permit application. It's for a tier 1 battery, less than 600 kilowatts. The code change lets the building inspector say, oh, I'm taking in this building permit. It meets this set of requirements. Therefore, it doesn't need to go to a site plan review. It meets the conditions for an application. That's no different than any other application you'd submit for building. What's the criteria that lets the building permit, let the building inspector basically say, yes, we can use the application. The third item is the actual install code itself. This is for both tier 1 and tier 2. Things like, do you need a fence? Do you have to remove any shrubbery that might be in close proximity? Noise is another thing. How much noise is generated? That all is regulatory stuff about how batteries should be installed. And lastly, and this is actually perhaps one of the more important points, is the word usage and the permitted uses. Where can these batteries go? And the next page kind of puts a good summary on that. So we break it into 4 quadrants, behind the meter and front of meter. For tier 1, equal to or less than 600 kilowatt hours. You can use the permit application. It can go into all zones, and it's single family, multifamily, or commercial. And that's what the building inspector would be evaluating the application with. When you're over 600 kilowatts, tier 2, whether it's multifamily, industry, or institutions, it cannot go into wetlands or R1 zoned areas, and it must go through the site plan review. The one exception is when you are front of meter So a large system can go into a R1 if it's transmission line connected, which is the whole purpose of a large system, is to protect the grid. And that also uses the plan review process as well to ensure that it's properly done. So those are the conditions under which where batteries are zoned for. And the laws basically all pertain to that. Okay, I hope that was
Yeah, that's good.
clear enough. All right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and just kind of to remind everyone, these are kind of put forward by the governor's office. And just like they had the solar laws a few years ago, they're trying to make it more universal across towns. And so we didn't, they gave us universal laws that we tweaked a little bit, but these are really kind of, all of the safety issues are, the engineers at the state level have kind of made sure everything is safe. We didn't have volunteers do all of that checking. We just made sure like the model laws fit what we were hoping to do here in New Paltz.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was the starting point for all of this work, was what did NYSERDA generate as a model law?
And, we had meetings with NYSERDA and they kind of walked, lots of meetings and explanations and stuff. So it's not like we did this, without professional help, just so everyone's aware of that.
Joe, you're also on our Environmental Conservation Board, okay?
The Climate Smart Community
Okay.
Task Force.
Have
yeah.
they had a chance to look at this and comment on it?
So, yes, because this was actually a project that we took on. More than a year ago,
Okay,
Neil asked, the Climate Smart to get involved in running a task force to create these laws.
okay,
So I raised my hand and, it was a commissioned project through the CSC, and I've been reporting on it to Yvonne as to what's our status on
I mean, that's the other thing I didn't mention, it, they didn't want town boards to just like approve these laws. They wanted it to be done by community members. So we had to put a community group together and the Climate Smart Committee offered to do that. They wanted feedback and input from the community, not just the elected officials. So.
great, thank you.
No problem. Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Appreciate your hard
Are
work.
you Yvonne? Hi, nice to meet you. You're kidding. Yeah.
And so we're gonna leave this open for a little while, hopefully not too long. We'll see if there are some public comments, but we would like to, we've been working on this for a while and this is not the first presentation, but now that the law is done, people can make public comments on it and we're interested in what people have to say. But hopefully, like Joe said, like the grid, this is required for us to have upgrade the grid going forward. Thanks, Joe. And so now we have a interview for another person who's interested in joining the Housing Smart Communities Initiative is Sue Denton here. You're welcome to come up and join us at the table.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Tim.
Thanks for your interest.
You're welcome.
It sounds like you probably know more about this than any of us do. So, based on your letter, so I appreciate your being willing to volunteer and, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, so I have been a member of UACT for about 5 years, maybe a little longer. And I'm on the Housing Committee of UACT. And so as part of that effort, I became interested in understanding what it took to put housing together because I do have a background in housing. And it seemed like a very interesting thing to do, to cut my teeth on the big South Manheim project for senior citizens that was being put together by Affordable Housing Concepts. And I learned a lot doing that, and it's been about 2.5 years. And it made all those housing parts of my brain from when I had a job doing housing wake up again after, a few years of not having to worry about that. But I found out that I was still interested in that. So I'd heard about the Smart Housing Community Initiative, and Jackie Brownstein and I went to have an appointment at the planning department with, oh gosh, Dennis Doyle. And we talked about it and he offered to appoint me to the committee and I joined that committee. It was about halfway through its work. And so I do have a good understanding, I think, of what the smart housing community effort is. When I was working in housing in Eastern Dutchess County for about 11 years, one of the things that it felt like I was doing all the time is I had this little not-for-profit of 2 people, and it felt like we were knitting housing. I mean, it was just so slow. It was, you know, the bureaucracy was really hard. It was difficult to get help from municipalities because they didn't have staff. They didn't have staff that could relate to the Division for Housing and Community Renewal because it's a very thick bureaucracy to relate to. And so there were things that I could see happening where everything would get up to a point and fall apart. And in that atmosphere, we'd have to kind of figure it out and try to build some housing, which we did. We were able to do, but it took a very long time. So anyway, after leaving that job, I became the director of a residential transitional housing project for people who've been victims of domestic violence and their children. And I realized that it always comes back to housing. The well-being of any family, any household comes back to how well they're housed, how secure they feel, and the anxiety around that housing, which is getting more and more deep because of the cost. Housing security is really important to people. Your home is your safe place. It should be your safe place. So all these things came together in my head, and I realized that I want my town to have at its disposal the right kinds of documents and records and the ability to apply for funding when it becomes available, so that you can say, I don't have to reinvent or knit this sweater again. And that would make it much more simple. Not that it'll ever really be simple, but just to make you have and us have the right ingredients to create affordable housing. And in my mind, affordable housing is for workforce people. It's also for poor people. It's also for middle income people. It's right housing for people who need it. And so that's my interest, and I would like to make it part of my business to be involved in this.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I think you'll add a lot to the committee,
Thank
and
you.
we really want to move this forward. So also, we still need a few more people on the committee. I think, you know, you're the 3rd person who's interviewed.
Mhm.
Someone who was going to interview got an email today. They can't do it right now, and so we still have some spots open. Hopefully, one of the reasons we started the process is as people see us interviewing people, hopefully they say, hey, I want to do that too. But we would like to get this moving as quickly as possible. You know, we want to have a committee of at least 5.
Right.
If it's too small, it's, you know, a lot of burden on that group, but a big part of this committee's job is to sell this to the community.
Right.
Because we want to make sure that we have buy-in, because that's often what stops a lot of these projects. And so, thanks for doing this, and anyone who's out there, please step up and help us keep moving this forward.
Or anyone who's out there. And I also think you're being very modest, because I think we have you and Jackie and Tom and some other people to thank for getting this initiative passed. You went to those county legislature meetings again and again. You spoke when there were committee meetings. You sat quietly, but they knew you were there. And I think that, well, I know that the chair of that committee said having that much energy show up in the room really gave us the support we needed to pass this thing. So thank you.
You are welcome. I'd just like to say one more thing. I've talked to Kai Farmer from planning. who has shepherded the whole smart community housing thing. And I said to him, you know, just tell me you don't have to make it up as you go along. And he said, no, no, no. What would happen is once the committee exists, then he has a lot of input he can give to that committee and templates for each step along the way. So,
Mhm.
And
Well-
they said there were gonna be grants from the county as
Right,
well to
there
help
is.
us hire
right,
people to do housing plans.
Mhm.
And so I think that's gonna be really helpful,
Sure.
is
will
to
be.
bring professionals in. It's always easier when there's a plan put together by professionals, that people can read and think about instead of, you know, just like one person saying, oh, I think we should do X, Y, Z, right? And so-
right.
Right.
And so we would be asking the right questions of people and in the right kind of way. And I think that's very important. So it's not like we're reinventing anything. It's not new stuff. It's just stuff.
Yeah.
It's just work.
And people don't like change, right? But I think that what I'm also excited about is that this is kind of a countywide initiative. So there are gonna be other towns doing some of the same things, hopefully. And you can say, well, we're not the only ones doing this. See, this town is doing it and the sky didn't fall.
Right.
So
Mhm.
maybe we should think about it as well, right? So I'm hopeful and I appreciate the fact that the county's doing this and I'm hoping other towns are gonna move forward as well. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Susan.
thanks. And like I said, anyone who's interested, please send a letter to assistant@townofnewpaltz.org and we'll interview you and hopefully we can get this moving. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. A through D.
Second.
And I want to thank Jean for explaining to me when I went, well, $600,000. And you explained to me exactly where it came from and that it was going to be reimbursed. So thank you for reading your email and calming me down.
Thank you for asking. $600,000 is a lot for one vendor. But I also came in case you had any questions on budget modifications. Because you have 2 more meetings before the auditors come back. And there will be more budget modifications for 2023. Because someone keeps submitting bills for 2023. And so I need to keep making budget modifications to keep it clean. So if you have any questions, here I am.
Not this time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, great. And Katie, I'll hand it over to you for the liaison reports.
Okay, let me get those back. We tried to get a CIT committee meeting together and, we thought there was gonna be a huge snowstorm and, it didn't happen, but Alex is working on getting it together for next week.
It's happening now.
I know. Who? I was not ready for that. So that's fine. That, okay. So I had my first meeting as a liaison to the Public Access TV committee. I met them on February 5th. There's a lot going on. We discussed how to make the YouTube community playlist more accessible. And by the next morning, Bob Fagan had created on YouTube separate playlists. So if you go to where it says live, you can see Phoenix, you can see all the different community activities that we have going on. And if that's too complicated, just search for New Paltz Public Access TV and eventually you'll land there. Anton Stewart is editing the Public Access YouTube channel into other playlists so that we can separate government meetings, community meetings, and soon there will be direct links to those. The committee would like an agreement that the nonprofit New Paltz TV they created handle all the operational, financial, and technical aspects of Channel 23. So we need to figure out how that would work, because right now, I think Bob Fagan has been billing you directly. I'm not sure how that works. And so they would like to shift that to the nonprofit they created. So I don't know what their next step is gonna be on that, but I want to give you a heads up. I don't know if billing would be different coming from a nonprofit. You're looking puzzled. I'm just the messenger. The Spectrum franchise negotiation is going on. It has been for a while. The old franchise has expired, but it is still in effect. Only 12 seniors, and I am one of them, have been utilizing the annual senior discount. And Spectrum would like to get rid of it. So it's a lot of paperwork for them. What they are offering is a monetary contribution to some local nonprofits, perhaps family, perhaps the library, perhaps the rescue squad, might get free internet in exchange for the seniors not getting their discount anymore. So these are, sort of big issues that eventually will come back to the town board. And I just want to give you a heads up that they're coming along. The town clerk apparently is archiving videos to DVDs. So there's a separate way of watching them in addition to YouTube.
Just so we have permanent records.
Yeah, and we lost all the VHS tapes. So this is a good thing that we have a backup. The committee would like to upgrade channel 23. Who here watches channel 23? So, it's sort of, the committee's feeling is if they build it, you will come. Right now, the transmission is so terrible, it's hard to watch. They're hoping if they can get it upgraded to HD TV, more people will come back and watch it. And finally, PATV would like to operate studio space at the community center. They'd like to add a small fee to the franchise agreement to generate $15,000 a year to cover their costs. And they will come back and tell us what that $15,000 would pay for. So that's it for my committee so far. CIT will meet next week.
All right. So the number 5 is the village has asked us if we have any input on the RFQ that they want to put out for consultants for the consolidation study, and sent it around if anyone has any comments or suggestions. If not, I'll let the mayor know and they can put it out.
The kind of tight deadline, February 26th. That's back, but the RFP.
Yeah,
The sooner the better, I guess.
And Kitty, I'll hand this over to you. Number 6 is the resolution for the 20th anniversary of same-sex marriage.
Okay, let me get that up here. So many of you may remember that amazing day 20 years ago when Jason West married 26 same-sex couples. And why am I not able to pick it up here? So in conjunction, thanks. In conjunction with Alex Wojcik of the village, we've been working together on a joint resolution. Whereas the village of New Paltz made history on February 27th, 2004, when the Honorable Mayor Jason West performed same-sex marriages in Peace Park. And whereas Ulster County District Attorney Donald A. Williams charged Mayor West with 19 misdemeanors. And whereas Judge E. Michael Kavanaugh issued a permanent injunction stopping Mayor West from solemnizing marriages without a duly issued marriage license. And whereas on March 6, 2004, 2 ordained ministers of the Unitarian Universalist Church, Catherine Greenleaf and Dawn Sangre, performed marriage ceremonies for 13 same-sex couples who did not have marriage licenses, and they were charged with a crime for solemnizing marriages without licenses. And whereas the town of New Paltz made history when town justices Jonathan Katz and Judith Reichler dismissed both cases, citing numerous examples in which New York's highest court has consistently extended rights and benefits to same-sex partners. Whereas on June 26th, 2015, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled in Obergefell versus Hedges that same-sex couples have a constitutional right to marry. And whereas the town and village are united in our belief that everybody has the right to love, marry, and create a family with a partner of their choosing. And whereas, in recognition of this fundamental right, the town and village of New Paltz have proudly celebrated the annual New Paltz Pride March and Festival since June of 2005. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of New Paltz joins the village of New Paltz in acknowledging with pride, respect, and gratitude the courage and passion for human rights of Mayor Jason West, Ministers Catherine Greenleaf, Dawn Sangre, Town Justices Jonathan Katz and Judith Reichler, all of the couples who joyously exchanged vows in front of an equally joyous crowd of well-wishers for their role in advancing the rights of the LGBTQ+ community, forever affirming New Paltz as a community that makes good trouble. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is directed to send it to a whole bunch of dignitaries. So I offer that resolution.
A second,
Okay? Do I say all in favor?
yeah, if you want.
Cool. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
So
for
be
doing
it.
that.
I would love to post the decisions of those judges on our town website. Is that something we can do? Is there a legal?
I don't,
Let's explore that. Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
It'd be neat to have one of those iron plaques at the entrance of the town.
Well, interestingly, Judge Wires thought maybe we should have a plaque here in this building.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, the Historic Preservation Commission, maybe, it's
Fine.
history, even though it's not that old, you know?
Well, it's history that we were all there for.
But I could talk with them as the liaison to that commission.
Right, thanks.
And speaking of which, are we gonna do liaison reports? Because we hadn't done that before. Is that something you did?
It's
when
on
we-
the agenda.
Kitty asked to do it.
But
If people want to, they can.
So I'd like to be more, next time I'll do one.
Okay.
I'll be prepared.
All right.
All right, number 7 is a motion to authorize the approval of the highway department's sale of the 2006 Gradall. It's jointly owned by the town of New Paltz and Lloyd. But due to the cost of maintaining this piece of equipment, it's becoming cost prohibitive. The town of Lloyd will handle the sale of the piece of equipment and the proceeds will be split between the two towns. Highway department asks that New Paltz portion be put in the equipment reserve fund. I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So number 8 is a motion to authorize the approval of the following 2023 budget modifications for cost overruns. Any
Second.
discussion?
These are pretty straightforward. Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks, Jean, for answering any questions we had. And so all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right. And authorization to approve the following seasonal workers for Memorial Pool, preseason 2024 at $17 an hour with a start date of February 25th, 2024, and an end date of May 18th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And number 10 is a motion to authorize the approval of the expenditure of ARPA funds in the amount of $42,500. We approved on 11/16/23 meeting for the replacement of 2 mowers for the recreation department, along with attachments for the tractor for ball field maintenance. All equipment will be purchased is on contract. Yeah, okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And number 11 is authorize the Motion to authorize the approval of the increase in the amount of the highway department's personnel training for Class A from the approved $10,000 to $13,000. This increase is to be taken from 5110.2 line. Increases for the 3 employees due to minimum hours of training being changed by the state from 15 hours seat time to 27 hours seat time beginning in 2024.
Second, did we skip the public hearing on ADU?
No, we said it.
Okay,
No one commented.
No one commented.
nobody, okay, I just wanted to make sure that nobody was here to talk back. Okay, I missed that, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February warrant in the amount of $1,918,502.91.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so the number 13, the way I kind of explained this once, I'll explain it again. We are trying to post the agenda on Tuesdays now. But then we always have some last minute changes. And so instead of reorganizing the whole agenda, we try to keep everything the same. And then the last item on the agenda are items, A through whatever, hopefully not Z, of things that were added at the last minute. And so these items were all added in the last few days. Because we had to wait for the police commission. We're basing our recommendations on what they have asked us to do, and they met Tuesday. So the first is a motion, and so also, so everyone's with, they've approved all of these. And now they're asking for the town board to approve them. And so the first is a motion to approve the promotion of Joseph Judge to sergeant effective February 20th at the rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
So we're not, they are lettered instead of numbered, so I thought perhaps
Yeah,
it
so
would be
the-
passed as a consent agenda, just out of curiosity. And so we're not passing it as a consent agenda.
No, we're doing each one separately.
So, second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Motion to appoint Jerome Milton to detective effective February 20th, 24 at the rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
Second,
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve the hiring of Sandra Kassar as part-time dispatcher effective February 20th, 2024 at the rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye. I would like to say congratulations to those who were just mentioned as,
Well, thank you, if I just may.
Yes.
Yeah, do you
my
wanna-
hope is- Well, just the promotions that are before you will complete, for us to complete the transition since Lieutenant Butler's retirement. Whenever you have a retirement of that rank, it requires filling all of those spots down the line. And so with this, we will have completed that transition. So looking forward to getting Jerome Milton up and running in the detective division and Joe Judge out as uniform patrol sergeant. And my plan is to ask the board if we could do a ceremonial swearing in of all of them here on March 7th. So that would be nice, so you can meet them and see them, and we'll do that here, if that's okay.
Great, yeah, that'd be great.
at the meeting, or,
Yes, March 7th.
Yeah, well, swearing in and,
Yep.
those are always nice. D is motion to approve the use of up to $1,600 from the department's seized asset account to pay for Lieutenant Sutton to attend the FBI LEEDA Command and Executive Leadership Institute training classes.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
And those are quite effective, I hear.
It's an abridged version of the FBI's National Academy curriculum, and so the Sheriff's Department is hosting these 2 modules of training. I think one is in July, one is in October. So I think it's important to get Lieutenant Sutton into these. They're intended to help develop leaders of agency leaders, and so I think it's a part of his development in moving him along to be ready to eventually assume duties here.
And do you want to talk about the next item agenda first, the battery?
So, I I appreciate what was said at the last meeting, and so one of the things, I did, after that was to look at whether or not, look at what we could do for, an EV for an administrative car. One of the vehicles that we are replacing was an administrative car. I did price out on the state bid for the Ford Mach-E, the basic package there. It's a rear-wheel drive, standard battery. It's an admin car, so we can use the existing chargings here. We can get an account, a charge point account that we can use here when the car is here. And I think that, it's a viable option. There's certainly gonna, it would require a bond of greater monies, but, it would, provide us with a fully electric vehicle if that's something the town board would like us to do. I'm all in favor of it. So if that is the case, then I'm asking the board to pass this resolution so that we can bond out for the marked vehicle that we were going to, and the second vehicle would be fully electric, and then it would require rescinding the approved bond the bond that was approved at the February 1st meeting.
Okay, and I should have written this down, but Gene, do you know, what was the bond you approved at the last meeting?
106,000 something,
106, so it's about 15,000
yes.
more, 14,000
And-
more.
So the one vehicle, the first vehicle was like 31,700. So this is $14,000 higher. That's your pick.
And it won't be using gas though,
Mhm.
which is lovely. Because, I mean, that's a saving is what I'm saying.
Right, well, thank you for listening to us and going back and
But if
tweaking things.
you
Really
adopt this
appreciate it.
resolution for the new amount of money, you have to make another motion to rescind
Yes,
the other one.
yeah. So I mean, is the board, what do people think about this? Just,
Well, I'm very happy that, we looked at the bond last meeting and requested that the chief consider purchasing an electric vehicle. And he went back and looked at the proposal and came back with a better proposal. So, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
I am too.
so it sounds like people are in favor of
Yes,
this. Okay.
rescinding the old and
Okay, so,
welcoming the new.
I'd like to make a motion want us to rescind the other one first, Gene? So we don't have two bonds at the same
Yes.
time?
Yes, I did. Thank
So
you.
I would like to make a motion to rescind the previous motion for the bond from the prior meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and I would like to make a motion to authorize the approval of a new bond resolution of the town of New Paltz, authorizing the issuance of up to $120,600 in serial bonds of the town to finance the acquisition of motor vehicles for use by the town of New Paltz Police Department. One of the vehicles is fully electric, and the other is a standard police car because we can't get those as electric yet, but we will have at least one fully electric vehicle.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's it.
okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Did you, Katie, did you have something you wanted to say? You got here a little late.
I did get here late. One, I did apply, I sent an email to apply, to the housing initiative, the affordable housing, so.
Oh, okay. Well, if you, I don't know if you're ready to be interviewed now. If you want to, you're welcome to, but we
Anybody
can
else
also,
want to?
if you're not, we can do it next meeting.
I'm happy to do it now.
Okay, come on up, please.
We don't have a- like a president there.
We don't, but
We didn't
you
look
can
at it.
send it to us after.
Maybe I said it's a long.
Yeah, I just, maybe well, also, it might have been that we're gonna interview two people this time and we heard from someone today.
Daniel Scherer has withdrawn his application.
Oh.
So-
we have a few
Right,
sad
so
histories.
we have, we have spots, but that spot also is available.
Oh.
So, I talked to Katie today because she's advocating for a disabled person who is about to be evicted. And that led to a longer conversation about the housing initiative. So,
Yeah, hi, how are you? I'm Katie Hamel-Decker. I live here on North Putt. We moved up here, me, my husband and my daughter, about a little bit over a year ago. We came from Manhattan. Before you cringe, we lived in 100% subsidized building.
Unless you're a Lenape, everyone's from somewhere else.
Yeah, but I wouldn't live in Manhattan if I didn't live in a subsidized building. I were there for about 13 years and we came after I got completely priced out of Brooklyn. And living in affordable housing gives you a real insight, and I feel a lot of these affordable housing initiatives, task force, and, you know, everyone's well-meaning. If you haven't lived it, you don't understand what's missing. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of these decisions. It's lived experience. If you haven't gone through it, you don't know. You know, I was in an Airbnb for 8 weeks, 3 years ago with my daughter, because the black mold in my apartment was so bad, and my landlord wouldn't fix it. We're still in court. You know, and my family was sick, and I have 9/11 related illness, they didn't care. And until if my husband wasn't in development, he's in construction, but we actually moved up here because he got an offer, which he wanted for a long time, to focus solely on affordable housing up here. So he joined a firm that's doing 3 parcels in the Hudson Valley, 100% affordable, all of them. So to say we're vested in it, or, you know, this has been our lives for a while. I'm a political consultant, and that's what he does. But I know what it's like to go into these rooms, and everybody on that board owns property here, is a landlord, has, you know, a vested financial interest. And then, you know, there might be a few well-meaning people there, but that's what you're up against. I was on Community Board 4 in Manhattan, which is where Hudson Yards came to get their approval, and everyone else. I mean, we were up against the Titans, and you just dwarf. So I got my real estate license, not so I can make money. I have never done a commission deal, just so I can know what I'm talking about in those rooms, because if not, they just dwarf you. And then, you know, things get pushed through. Affordable housing plans with AMIs that are ridiculous, that don't even match the HUD, you know, issued FMR. They just, and nobody catches it. Absolutely no one catches it. They don't catch succession rights. They don't catch, you know, do you have a ramp for strollers? They don't understand, but, you know, it's laundry every floor. You know, no, you don't just need 2 bedrooms, you need 3. They don't understand. So when I realized there was still an opening, I think I would be a hypocrite if I didn't at least apply, because I'm always screaming about it. When I came up here, I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, oh, maybe I'll help people with school boards. So I did, one of the school board members. And then I started looking up candidates, and I identified Yvonne Flowers in Poughkeepsie. And I realized, you know, after following her through, I read all her back minutes, and because she was a common council member, nobody was helping her. She didn't have a consultant, she had no funds. So I reached out to her, I offered my services for free. We got through the primary, which is brutal 3-way. And then she won the general. And when she won the general, not only is she the first Black mayor of Poughkeepsie, she's the first Dem in 20 years, but she's the first mayor of Poughkeepsie that's ever lived in a night shift, you know, not night shift, but public housing in Poughkeepsie. So I can guarantee you, in her first term, she will do more for housing than anyone else, because she has the lived experience. She went through it. So that, you know, I want to find more Yvonnes in the world professionally, but every table needs one. Everybody needs someone, you know, a person who's not rich, a person who has depended on that and knows what it is to have to be recertified, or you lose your apartment, or God forbid you make a little too much money one year. So yeah,
Okay.
that's why I'd like to do it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for reaching out. Thank you for
Yeah.
stepping up.
Well,
I'm sorry, my
yeah,
hair's not brushed.
I mean, you know, she has so little energy, you know.
You know,
I mean,
I'm
that was the
kidding.
most energetic phone call I've ever had. I was like, woo, come to the meeting tonight. Yeah, so anyway, here she is.
Well, I was calling about a woman who actually lives down the block.
Right.
Nobody wants to know this, but she's horrible, you know, she's disabled. And the person who bought her house, that she lives in now they're all going out, they're all getting evicted. And the sale was not even, it was one FHA scam to another FHA mortgage scam. And the the building is completely converted every which way. There's a really, a guy on the spectrum is really not very self-sufficient. I don't know why he's living alone, living in a moldy converted garage.
Well, so here's the other thing, the town has passed a rental registration law.
Oh, then
And-
this house isn't on it, yeah, I know. I
And
checked.
so but we're just starting to roll that out with the new hire that we have. And so I encourage people, if you find, or if you know of a place that you think should be inspected, please reach out to the building.
167 North Putt.
Reach out to the building department, and the reason we're doing this is so people are living in safe places.
Yeah.
That are inspected for issues like that.
Yeah.
And so, anyone who's listening and has a place that you think, well, maybe this should be inspected. They're all gonna have to be inspected. Right now, we're trying to track down where are the rentals? Because we don't know
Do you
that.
know why people don't report it? Because they don't want to lose their little apartments. They have nothing else. So they'd rather live in squalor than not have any apartment, you know?
Yeah.
I went through that with my mold, because I'm like, I know they're gonna kick me out.
We want people to be safe.
We want people to be safe and in an affordable house. So thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
I know you have a daughter waiting for you to come home.
No, freedom.
Thank you.
And so I was gonna leave all the public hearings open for right now, in case there's more comments, and, but
Great.
hopefully we can get the ADU sooner than some of the others, because there are people waiting to
You know,
get the ADUs.
That's something else Katie and I were talking about, and maybe we don't want to put it in the law, but I would like to see on the application that people put in for their ADU, that they do get a radon inspection. Because Katie was telling me that when she bought her house up here, the radon was out of this world and they had to get it mitigated. And it's just something, because people are gonna be living in basements, they're gonna be living right on top of radon. So rather than put it in the ADU law, can we just put it in the application that the landlord, the owner certifies that the radon has come back? I think it's 4 picocuries or less. Anybody here
Yeah, I
know?
think ours is triple the allowed amount, and that's a North Putt.
Yeah, there's a lot, because radon is a big thing here. So could we just add that?
Yeah, we can ask the code officer.
Okay, great, thanks.
And that's all I have, so motion to adjourn, unless anyone else has anything. All right,
Second,
all in favor? Aye.
bye, thanks, everybody. See you later. I think there's some.